and say,
It's called
we were having a conversation. I'd let you know what kind of a mood I'm in.
We call the meeting to order. That's where we usually do the devotion.
We begin with the reading from 1 Corinthians. Now concerning spiritual gifts, siblings, I do not want you to be uninformed. You know that when you were pagans, you were enticed and led astray to idols that could not speak. Therefore, I want you to understand that no one speaking by the Spirit of God ever says, "Let Jesus be cursed." And no one can say, "Jesus is Lord," except by the Holy Spirit. Now there are a variety of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are a variety of services, but the same Lord. And there are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who activates all of them in everyone. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. To one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge, according to the same Spirit. To another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the one Spirit, to another the works of miracles, to another prophecy, to another the discernment of spirits, to another various kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. All these are activated by one and the same Spirit, all who allots to each one individually, just as the Spirit chooses. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in the one Spirit we were all baptized into one body. Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit. Indeed, the body does not consist of one member, but many. If the foot would say, "Because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body," that would not make it any less part of the body. And if the ear would say, "Because I am not the eye, I do not belong to the body," that would not make it any less part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole body were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? But as it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them, as God chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many members, yet one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, "I have no need of you," nor again the head to the feet, "I have no need of you." On the contrary, the members of the body that seems to be weaker are indispensable, and those members of the body that we think less honorable we clothe with greater honor, and our less respectable members are treated with greater respect. Whereas our more respectable members do not need this. God has so arranged the body, giving the greater honor to the inferior members, that there may be no distinction within the body, but the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together with it. If one member is honored, all rejoice together with it. Now you are the body of Christ, and individual members of it, as God has appointed to the church, first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then deeds of power, then gifts of healing, forms of assistance, forms of leadership, various kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all possess gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? But strive for the greater gifts, and I will show you a still more excellent way. I can hardly imagine a world without division. I think I've tasted the unity in certain groups at certain times. People of kingdom living, those who choose to live the lifestyle the Bible outlines for us, are people of unity. We're hearing these words a lot lately: division and unity. I wonder about our connectedness. These verses tell us we are so connected that when one suffers, we all suffer. When one is honored, we all rejoice. How do we fight division? This verse says we care for one another. It's so easy to care for our friends, but the Bible calls us to even care for those who are against us. As a minister, I've stepped into hospital rooms, visited and cared for people who have mistreated me. These moments are hard. Only the brave reach out to care for someone who hurt them. It takes a mighty warrior to love those who persecute. Divisive behavior only brings more division. Our focus turns to the fight and everyone loses. What's it to take to dispel division? Humility, knowing we aren't always totally right about all things. Communication, conversation and respectful communication is key to warning off division. Listen. Many times people are upset because they feel they aren't heard. Listen and clarify to the person what you heard them communicate to be certain you understand. Prevention. Preventing division is outlined for us in Matthew chapter 18. Step 1 is to talk with the person one-on-one. Over 90% of conflicts are resolved in this first step. Rarely do we need to go on any further. Problem is our culture teaches us to talk to everyone else about our concerns instead of that person. We want our feelings and thoughts validated. This is sinful behavior because that breeds more and more division like a domino effect. If things aren't resolved after a conversation, it's time to bring another person into the conversation, a mediator. We are the body of Christ. It is our responsibility to bring unity where there is division. This has been a struggle throughout generations. I'm reminded of St. Francis of Assisi's famous prayer. Let us pray. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Council Secretary, any correspondence?
Well, it's that time of year. So we have numerous requests for donations. American Cancer Society, Special Olympics, Special Olympics Ohio, Feeding America, Alzheimer's Association, St. Jude Children's, and Helping Haiti. So if you would all like to see these, I can pass them around, or we can just decide if we're going to pass.
Sure.
Okay.
Is there anything, Stacy, is there anything that we have done in the past that you can recall? Anything that you may have mentioned?
Not just the Special Olympics this year most recently. Our support has typically been either through the synods for some of the programs that they have around the holidays.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we shouldn't or can't, but
And we have a reminder of the invitation to the 2023 member appreciation luncheon from the Conneaut Chamber of Commerce,
Have a date on there?
which will, pardon me?
Does that have a date?
Yes. December 6th, from 11:30 to 1, and 2 seats per chamber member.
So that's a Wednesday, right?
Right.
It's on Wednesday.
You have something going on apparently.
I do, but I can
I
go.
thought it was in February.
February's the.
February is the annual dinner.
Oh. This is just lunch.
Right.
We'll be making lunch.
And
I was
it's-
gonna say Michelle's busy. You could write a wish.
Michelle's tied up.
Sometimes literally.
And then Hopewood Outdoors sent us information about their summer camps and about retreats that they're going to be holding in 2024, so I'll pass those around.
Is there opportunity to have more of these for congregants? Can we get, I don't know, if anybody else wants them?
Or a brochure.
Oh, more
Brochures.
brochures?
Oh,
Probably.
sure, if we,
Yeah.
contact Local Outdoors, I'd be happy to send it.
I just think it would be a good idea.
Christmas at the Mercantile, which is, it doesn't have a name on here, but that place that's on Route 20,
Oh,
the
that is a-
Mercantile.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is a
where
fabulous-
Sasquatch Farms used to be.
Yes.
Oh, that is a fabulous little place.
So they are going to have a Christmas tree, event where you can walk through and see a bunch of decorated Christmas trees.
Oh.
So they want to know if we would want to bring and decorate our own tree or donate $150.
I think we should do that.
Or they would, do it for us for a donation of $150, but we can bring our own.
I would spend 12 hours decorating.
Has to be finished by December 6th, and they're also, letting us know that they offer shredding as a fundraiser
Oh,
for anything that we might need shredded.
I think it's something we need to- I think it's something we need to do.
$5 a package box, that's something we might.
Oh, they're really, I've been there for what you.
Oh, really?
What's that?
Yeah.
Remember
Maybe it's a way to get them
Conneaut, they lived in
Her mother was
Harvard.
Medina
I'm
High.
not here for them to hear about
They're from Conneaut originally. They
Yeah.
used to live down what,
She's Edie Jonas now, she's a lawyer, well, she's a magistrate now.
the tree.
But she's been on their board and we're
That's
her and
dope.
her friends. and
Michelle.
It is a wonderful program up there,
Cool.
Can you squeeze it in your schedule?
We will squeeze it.
yeah. She had
It is
a,
a fabulous place. Everybody that works there are,
they're mentally challenged.
they're mentally, they're disabled, they're disabled people.
You got
her
something
sister
else?
was
Okay.
in that program.
Yeah. They're fabulous.
Thank you.
It's the most.
Yeah, I should run.
And then, last but not least, we got a little brochure about the quilting again, and there's an article in here that I'll pass this around about the impact of showing quilts that, not here, but that Lutherans have made that are being distributed in the Ukraine. So,
That's
that's
something
something,
fun to do with the youth.
and that's all.
If anybody has any interest around the table to do it, any of these, I'll take it.
Oh,
Dismiss.
it's Taylor's
Business.
business.
Okay.
Kathy
Just
said that.
double check that everybody has interest in, yeah.
So as you looked at these requests for donations, were there any that, you think we should consider at this time? Anyone?
Don't we usually get the Special Olympics when they're gonna go off and do their
That's what
competition?
Stacy said that we usually.
Yeah, I thought that was in the
Yeah,
spring,
they,
right?
they do track and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's usually April-ish.
Okay. All right, moving on, minutes from the last council meeting, has everybody had a chance to review them? If so, is there a motion to accept? Michelle, is there a second? Shirley? Any discussion, question, concerns? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Treasurer's report. Stacy.
I didn't get the treasurer. Oh, are we passing them around?
It's in your council packet, it didn't come through. Jen resent them today.
I did not get.
Okay, I made 10 copies, because Jen resent the agenda today that included it,
No, it didn't come in the second one either.
because I printed the second one.
Is that the same?
That's interesting, here, just keep passing them around. Keep passing them around. Anybody else?
Me.
Okay.
I saw this in the packet, but I didn't
You got it?
Oh, that's bizarre.
Here, this one's here.
I was saying,
Yes.
it's right there.
Okay.
Last page.
Right there. I got it.
All right,
So,
no, you're fine, is there another
do you wanna
question?
do it? Are you doing it?
I would be interested.
Okay. That's fine. Just need to set them off.
I'm on vacation December 1st. Let's go decorate, baby!
No.
We can decorate.
Okay.
Okay. Treasurer's report, our general fund balance at the end of October was $1,163. Giving for the month of October was $9,377. I do want to say though that the last Sunday in October did not get booked to October because it didn't get deposited until November 2nd. The deposits only go in on Thursdays. So even though there was 5 Sundays in October, we're only registering those 4. Other income was $207, so that brings us year to date to $121,066, which puts us at 77.9% of our budget. Expenses were $15,386. So year to date, we're at $156,168, which puts us at 100.6% of our operating expenses. So year to date, we're $940 overspent. And again, like I had said on Sunday, that's directly related to Chris carrying over for 2 weeks. That was not in our budget. And our shortfall on the other side of the coin is $34,388. Are there any questions on the top half?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Other income, would that include like money that we would give percentage wise, like from D-Day parking?
No,
So that is not shown in this.
it is not.
Okay.
It is money that we get through the use of the halls, the YMCA.
Okay. Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, so even when we see things show up in the checking account, like the Thriving Choice dollars, that just ends up being a deposit into our general fund. It's not, or a transfer in. It doesn't reflect because it's not a giving unit.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
So
Yes.
this is only based on giving units, not other, none of
The
the
other
types
income
of-
column is more than just, is not the giving units. That's the hall rental, that's the YMCA utilization of the facility.
But not D-Day.
I mean, or anything like that, like the social ministries or anybody gives.
Correct.
So do we keep track of that, how much we get from the other things that aren't reflected?
I can run a
in the
report month to month or by the end of the year by each of the different groups
Just curious.
to see
how
what was
much
transferred over, because it shows up in the journal entry.
5,000, 10,000 a year, maybe, or a lot more, a lot less? Do you have any idea?
This year it's a lot less because we didn't reinstitute that until recently. Is that accurate?
I see, okay.
I can say that Nissima in the past has donated roughly quite a bit,
Yeah.
quite a bit, thousands in a year.
So this 34,000 shortage is only based on giving units and the other income.
It's based on our budgeted revenue, which includes
Okay.
donations, and we do budget the hall rental and those things as well.
Now I'm thoroughly confused.
Yeah.
Well, we don't budget donations from the groups, from social ministries, from evangelism, from the fish fry. Not that we can't, but we just don't budget those, so I don't reflect them in the income statement because it's not comparing apples to apples.
Thank you.
And the income that's coming in from
people using our fellowship halls could probably vary then.
It does vary. It peaks at certain times and it's low at other times. You can look up like in April and May, much higher utilization of the halls.
Okay, because other folks, okay.
Any questions?
I have a question, it might not, it has nothing to do with, never mind, I'll save it for later.
Okay.
It has to do with the hall, but.
You wanna write it down so you don't forget? Cause that's my famous trick.
Okay,
Forget it.
I've already forgotten.
Alright, bottom half of the treasurer's report, at the end of October, well, you can look at our investment fund balances, they all took a hit in the month of October, reflecting the way the market dropped. The good news is, as you watch the market here in the month of November, the inflation data came through today and it was lower than anticipated and the market responded accordingly. I think it was up over 540 points when I looked at it last before it closed. So,
How did the reserve account go up?
I'll get to that. Jumping ahead on me.
Okay.
Let's see here, the youth missions fund went up. The same reason the reserve account went up. So in our reserve account, there used to be 3 buckets. There was VBS, there was the temp fund, and then the reserve account where we had funneled money in to help bring in a new pastor. So what we decided to do is we don't really tap the temp fund for anything. It just kind of sits there all the time. Was that we would just combine that with the reserve account and call it the reserve account. No change in dollars, it's just how we're counting them. And then the money that was in VBS went into the youth missions fund, into the savings account. So it's there if we need it for VBS.
It's just in a different.
It's just in a different place on how we're counting.
Okay.
Abiding memorial went down because we had the additional payments come out. I believe that was around the TVs primarily. And then Detroit Street holding flat and Sandusky pretty much the same.
And you paid Senate.
What's that? And I paid the Senate. Forget 1 month. And I hear about it for 6. You got 3 more to hit me with that.
okay, can we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Early? A second? Mark? Any questions, comments, discussion?
I have, something I wanted to ask Stacy. When we have the next meeting, will you talk about the family room and the TVs? And please tell people that came from Abiding Memorial. Our pastor did not spend that money out of the general
I
fund.
absolutely can do that in December.
Thank you.
They think we paid for it out of the general fund and the offerings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what it came
And
from.
I'm tired of asking, or I explained, and then they asked me again, and I said, it's just like it was the last time.
Okay, yeah, I can bring that up.
Thank you.
Okay,
Next. Vote?
vote, yes. All in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Okay, the other reports, that are attached.
George, I think yours is the only one I didn't get to read.
Is it the longest?
Because I did it last.
Because I was busy today. when it
I was
came
late
out.
on getting it done, I'm sorry, but it did get out and it's not.
So I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Under property,
Yeah.
George, number 1, L, unlock door before exiting?
Yes, the restroom,
Ah,
it'll be for the restrooms, the 2 restrooms over here, if you lock it and you can open it, it does not release the lock, you walk out, you close the door is locked. So it's gonna go on the back of the door that says, please.
I hate
don't
those.
go.
I've locked myself out of my house doing that.
Any other questions?
Page seven.
Oh, you got one of them.
That's a lot.
On vacation. I printed her sheet out on the pages.
That's my job.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the rest of the reports?
Gotta say,
I got
just say,
Hear me?
he doesn't have his eyes open.
I was reading while I was raising my hand.
Okay, Stacy, is there a second? Taylor,
Yeah. Too many things at once, man.
Say yes.
any discussion, any questions?
Use your words.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the remaining reports, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving into old business, report on the 21st listening session. So that would be Kay and I,
Yeah.
21st of October. And, go ahead. You're writing.
Well, fine.
So these are the questions we discussed in the meeting. How has the church changed since you joined? And we had an age group of young-ish
30
and
to
older-ish. So there was
late
quite a,
Oh, you had a good range.
yeah, not much, food pantry, the church in prior years, no fundraisers, no reaching out to the community. Youth connection with other churches, they feel like it's too low because we are so limited on youth here that it would be helpful to try to maybe have activities with another church that had more children, such as the Catholic Church or whatever. Families are smaller, the music less here now. They thought that there was more opportunity as far as music, like choirs and expanded music services. Fewer people, and the COVID impact where people did not come back since COVID. So hence the lower number of people. Ministries outside of Good Shepherd. We were talking about, is there something that we should do outside the church to try to, for the community in general? And they said that, they brought up that we do help offer financial support to Maddox, the cat register, register or something. Or support them, not necessarily financial, but support them.
That we should or we do?
Do you remember, was it should or do?
I think we should,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we do.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that there's so much to do here, that it's difficult to have the time and people to reach out so much in the community. And someone mentioned the art center also as a possibility. Passion for youth activities. One person said that not to shame the parents about either not bringing their children to church, or in other words, kind of judging if they're here, they're not here, or the participation. And they said that if you shame them, they might leave, and some families apparently have left. And we also discussed, does online service give people permission to stay home? Kind of, sometimes.
But it's beneficial for those that are homebound.
Exactly.
Right.
Can it affect our
That's-
attendance? Sure, yes, it could.
That's a discussion too that, I think it was Nick Irachi brought up when I was having that discussion with him, is that we've created this necessary evil. It's for the homebound mainly, but it's allowing us, it's giving everybody a chance to stay home and watch the service in their pajamas instead of going to church.
Right.
Then we also discussed what day or time would be better than Sunday because so many, like for an additional service, like some churches have a Wednesday night service because kids today are so involved and busy on the weekends and stuff that unfortunately parents don't make that a priority, but moving beyond that, because it is reality, well, how can we bring some people in perhaps during the week?
What was the response?
Having a midweek service,
midweek service?
yeah.
Midweek
Yeah.
service, or
Yeah.
even, I think there was talk about a weekend evening service kind of thing.
Yeah,
You're kind of like the Catholic Church does at 5 o'clock on Saturday or whatever.
right, or, you know, and I think a lot of Baptist churches have Sunday night service
Yeah.
and Wednesday night service.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
Huh.
Then we questioned, how do we appeal to the 25 to 45 age group? They suggested there be an area for children in the back of the sanctuary, which is something that we're already kind of planning, I think. The children's service is important to a lot of people that have little children and parents and grandparents. They feel like the 8:30 service is more kid-friendly than the 11 o'clock service because it's more casual, so.
Well, they also said, I don't know if you have it on there, but they also said that sometimes at the 11 o'clock service, if a child is in there and they're cutting up, they get the stairs, they get the
Yeah.
stairs from.
Like people give them looks
Yeah.
and stuff. And we talked about encouraging people to bring kids to both services. Even if that does happen, it doesn't mean you can't bring your child to 11 o'clock.
Right.
So. And reaching out to all age groups. Then, we asked them, what do you love about Good Shepherd? And these were the answers: welcoming pastor, the people, the flowers, the location, and the building. And then we asked them the ministries that we currently have at Good Shepherd, and these were the ones that everyone named: social, worship and music, 3Ms, evangelism, and Christian education.
Could they describe what each of those ministries do?
Well, it kind of expands down a little bit. Like social ministry,
Oh, I see.
included in social would be like Christmas meals, funeral meals, congregational dinners, hospitality, quilting, Nisua, prayer chain. And then worship and music, altar guild, acolytes, the service, assisting ministers, readers, etc. And then the 3Ms, it's not really 3Ms, it's members maintenance more, right?
It's still 3 M's.
It's still 3Ms.
It's still 3Ms, right.
Change of 3
It's still
and
church maintenance, mowing, lawn maintenance, etc. Then evangelism, food pantry, community meals, mixed closet, advertising, parking, basket raffle, purse bingo. And then Christian ed, youth group, Sunday school, confirmation, VBS, and youth gathering together. Then we talked about the mission. In the past, we've had bingo. We don't do that right now. In the past, we've had a villa service. These are the things that they would like to see come back. Christmas boxes. Nothing more to release. I don't remember what that was. I probably forgot to write the rest of the sentence. Because that seems a little.
Oh, I know. So the question was, what do we do that could be released?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They didn't, yeah, that's right, because they said they felt like we already don't do enough of what we used to do, sort of thing. And then presence in the community, the food pantry is becoming very popular and well-known throughout the city. And we've heard comments about being steadfast in the community as far as trying to support people in the community. And some of the needs, we asked them what they felt like it would be. Homeless people need help, possibly selling the rental for like a Samaritan house. And could Campbell work together to help as a group rather than just our church trying and, along with our abilities to help these people. And transportation needs are also a big community
That was a
problem.
pretty long conversation.
Actually, that's true. I can't tell you how many times I see people post, I need a ride to work,
Yeah.
my car's in the shop.
And there's no
Yeah.
buses in this area
There's no,
anymore.
no.
Or
There's
Uber
no
or
taxi
whatever,
service,
yeah.
anything.
Because we're such a small area,
Yeah.
they don't offer
There is busing available to this area.
On the earth?
You just
Yeah.
have to call, you just have to call. And it's $2.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Maybe-
then
maybe
where
not
will
on
it take you, anywhere?
It'll take you anywhere from Pierpont, Jefferson, Geneva, basically the northern half of the county.
Really?
If
Starting
you recall,
along that
one of the people said that they did that, they went to a doctor's appointment, and then they had to wait in the doctor's office waiting room for 2 hours for the bus to come back.
That is sometimes happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, it happens.
yeah. So there was discussion, they didn't
Yeah.
know about some of that.
Yeah.
So that could possibly be, better advertised or,
Yeah.
cause people
That was a long
was.
part of the conversation was on that transportation issue.
And there's other transporters in the county that also that get funding for reduced rates, but I can't tell you. I worked for ACT, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
we traveled people from Conneaut to Asheville to Geneva to wherever they had to go.
Mhm. And then special Lutheran resources, do you remember what the question was? Anyway, retirement homes, educational services, like camps, like Hopewood and Camp Luther, seminary and world relief.
Yeah, I forget how that came about.
Yeah. Anyway. So that was our meeting briefly. It wasn't a brief meeting.
It wasn't brief. It lasted the whole time, and
Ours did.
it was
and
pretty
ours-
lively.
And ran over.
Yeah,
I think one of the big things they talked about was homelessness.
yeah.
Yeah.
They talked about that too. I'd like to think it's just a start.
Now, community leader reports.
That looks good.
Any questions from the
Yeah, any questions for us? Sure, I did most of it, I did it from memory last time, I don't know if you recall, but there's a whole lot more there that came out. So with Mike Covey, I met with him, chief of police, I met with him on 9/8 in his office. And so I asked him these questions: how do you serve the community from your role as a community leader? And he said, pride in the Conneaut Police Department. He drives pride, he tries to push and make everybody be proud of what they're doing. Officers make the department look good or look bad. Uniforms represent the city of Conneaut, themselves, and the chief. He wants his officers to be courteous, friendly, and firm. So when he's dealing with the public, he wants them to be able to talk to them and be, stop and just shoot the breeze sometimes and stuff like that. But he also wants them to be firm when it comes down to the law and how to deal with the law. He always wants them to defend the public. So, if they're driving by and they see something happening to you, he wants them to stop and fix the problem. And he said, make the arrest when needed. I mean, most of us think of the police as that's what they do, but that isn't what he wants to be the focus of the department. What does your organization or agency see in the community? Lots of community support. However, there is some fear of retaliation for from non-supporters to supporters. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, it does.
when somebody is supporting the police department, there is a fear that they're going to get retaliated against by people who don't like the police. Community show support for, community showing support to the police department. They get a lot of notes and cards. They actually get, individuals buy lunches for the department on different shifts. And also, a lot of times, he says they get way too many baked goods, but they love them. But, they come in all the time, sometimes even flowers and balloons, so it just depends on, but he does recognize that there is a good support for the police department. What does your organization or agency see as the top needs of the community? Community involvement is what Mike said right off the start. If we had more community involvement in different activities, then you'd have a more of a sense of family kind of thing. Battered spouse home. They offer, but seldom do people want to go to Ashtabula, which is where the one safe home is for. He said that most of it is because they don't want to go that far away from home for whatever reason. They want to be closer to their house or home to protect it, I guess. Homeless needs, a place to stay even overnight out of the cold and wet. There is a significant amount of homeless in Conneaut. I heard it from both him and from Nick Irochi. And drug use, he doesn't have any answers for you or what kind of program to have or how it can be done. He does not believe that just sheltering them and giving them things is going to be of any use. He's looking for a solution to the drug issue is what he said. And how does your organization or agency attempt to serve these needs? Engage with the public, shop with a cop, safety town, resource officers at the schools, Conneaut Port District officer, public events officers. So they want to have those officers out in front and being visible all the time at different things and being a service to the community. So the other thing is gas cards from CAMA. I guess CAMA gives them gas cards and then they hand them out.
Yeah, so CAMA has an operating budget, part of the fees and some of the fundraiser, and that usually goes to gas cards.
Okay.
And sometimes some meal cards.
Officers buy coffee sometimes for people that are on the street. Sometimes they'll give them gloves. Some of the officers carry gloves in their cars with them, and sweaters and things like that they'll give to people that are on the street that are cold or in need. And they partnered with the Conneaut Port Authority and the Public Library on the free bicycles. So they had a stack of bicycles in the static office, and this was actually Mike's idea. Came to the Port Authority and said, hey, can you guys repair these, try to make one bike out of 3 or 4 of them, you know? And we did some of that, and then paired with the library to identify who to give them to. So there are free bicycles available in Conneaut, and they want to make sure they go to the right people and things like that. And by the way, they are remarked so that if they disappear again, they can be found and find the rightful owner. I asked them, can you describe Good Shepherd Lutheran Church and our ministries? A mainstay of Conneaut. This is Mike. A bit of a minor league to Corpus Christi, but very similar. You have to go. He knows that we own rental property at Detroit Street and Grove. Officers have been there several times, also a truck drove through the property and damaged the tree line. Welcoming and encouraging for the community, felt Conneaut, our Good Shepherd is, especially our facility, our factory, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Not
sounds
bad.
better than factory.
We'll turn you into a Christian if you stay long enough.
He did tell me he's gonna come visit. Free lunches and food pantry is a great thing, but we sometimes forget it's there. Meaning he said sometimes they forget it's there to even be able to send people there. And then the other thing, he wasn't clear of the schedule either, so I thought, it might be a good idea that we somehow communicate with the police department what our schedule is, so that when they do run into people on the street, they know whether or not it's today or tomorrow.
I can actually give them our phone, because we have a cell phone for emergency purpose, so I can give them that.
And those cards, they just have to
Yeah,
cross out the right time to remake the cards.
we'll make new cards.
Sure. How has Good Shepherd Lutheran Church impacted the people you serve? The biggest way could be the food pantries. Most of the police department encounters have nothing to cook with or even eat from. So if we're handing out things that they have to go home and peel, or potatoes,
They can't do
open a
it.
can, stuff like that, they can't even do that.
Huh.
So for them to encounter somebody on the street that is hungry,
And
they
homeless.
could come, and homeless,
Mhm.
they come here, I don't know what they can get.
Well, sometimes Michelle cooks for them. She
Yeah,
sets them
lunch.
down out and cooks for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think we all understand what he was saying there. And shelter for homeless. Nobody has a way of doing that. Nobody has any suggestions on how to do that, but it's mentioned several times. And what is your organization's 5 to 10 year vision or plan for our community? And he said, make things better, not just for now, but the future, and to continue to train officers to work with the public. That was Mike. Nick Irochi, I met with Nick Irochi on 9/15. Yeah, 9/15. And it was very interesting, and we actually went well over the time that he had allotted for me. How do you serve the community from your role as a community leader? And the first thing out of his mouth was deacon in the Catholic Church. And he said, and also a municipal court judge. He's active in CAMA, men's ministry for prostate cancer, and in Renew Court, kind of a combination of both roles. What does your organization or agency see in the community? Diminishing population, elderly people, underserved people, needs for physical and spiritual support, baby steps for growth, and struggling with live stream and getting people back into church. And it's not just to get them back into church, it's getting them back to Jesus, is what he said. How does your organization or agency see, what does your organization or agency see as the top needs of the community? Number 1 was homeless shelters, home or a place to spend the night. The second one was only one domestic violence center in the county. He has a concern about funding, because I think it's federal funds, he said, will only fund 1 per county.
Really?
There's actually 2 homeless, veterans homes in the county.
I'm just telling you what I.
Yeah.
just
Home
what-
safe and Bay Attitude, right?
Okay. And then the other thing is substance abuse treatment centers. There's a few, but, he feels like we're woefully short. Can you describe Good Shepherd Lutheran Church and our ministries? Best location in town. The look of Good Shepherd represents Jesus Christ, lit up at night with the steeple lights and the backlight of the stained glass, very warm and comforting. Very much aware of Good Shepherd Lutheran Church's property on Detroit Street because of the eviction. You notice neither one said anything about Sandusky Street, so neither one knows it. Where was that? Sorry. We're still underneath Good Shepherd Lutheran Church's ministries, food pantry and meals, Halo program, lunch program, active and supportive of CAMA, and great young pastor who is learning and active in the community. I really like Josh.
Quote unquote.
That's how I put. How has Good Shepherd Lutheran Church impacted the people you serve? BBS really wants to continue BBS, this program. This is my writing again. Once I typed it just exactly how I wrote it, I guess. Wants to tweak it some, time of the year and time during the day. Doesn't feel the evening experiment went well, but does not want to lose the program. Work well, he feels that Good Shepherd Lutheran Church works well together, especially with Corpus Christi. He partnered on the GOGA project and feels it was a great success and feels like we could look for more ways to do this.
To partner.
To partner. Okay. What is the organization's 5 to 10 year vision or plan for our community? Continue to support the community through ministry. And then I just said, no, we finished with a very nice discussion about communion and the difference in Catholicism and Lutheran communion beliefs. Continued this through the weekend, through email. Really wasn't a discussion, it was a debate.
It was a discussion from the last 50+ years.
Yeah, that's what, somebody told me that right after it. So that was it, so, but those were, I thought, two very good,
He
people.
attended church here for a while.
Pardon?
He attended church here
He
for a while.
did, apparently he was on the outs with the Catholic Church for a while, and he came
Yeah.
here.
I think it was on the outs with the priest that was there, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Father.
Yeah.
But he did. And he communed here too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't do it, just.
Okay. So, my two people was, Corey Zapatelli, or Corey Campbell, sorry, from Mercy Funeral Home. And, so I asked her, how do you serve the community from your role as a community leader? And she said, as a funeral director, I serve the community servant, in different aspects. I do all I can to meet the needs of each family who call on us to assist in arranging a meaningful service for their loved one. And I'm very involved with different civic activities and organizations to help make Conneaut a better place to live. And what the needs that she sees in Conneaut, the major need is assistance to families, because families are suffering in many different ways. Children are living in homes where they don't have support from their parents or families. And she said it can be due to both parents working and no supervision, or a cycle of years of parents just not being involved or even drugs and, things like that. So as far as the top needs of the community, she is not sure, in her opinion, that any one need is less important than the other because we do have so many needs. How does she attempt to help serve the needs? She was one of the founding members of the Elevation Drug Awareness Team, which was a program that was started but unfortunately has dissolved due to lack of involvement. And for a couple of years, she raised money to bring motivational speakers into schools, and she hopes to do that again this spring. She's also part of the new drug court board for the city of Conneaut. As far as can she describe our church, she said, Good Shepherd Lutheran Church over the last few years has seemed to become more involved with the food giveaway. So, as far as how does Good Shepherd impact the people that she serves, she said the families we serve who are members have had great comfort from the whole Good Shepherd church family during their time of need, and having services here is warm and welcoming for everyone. And her 5-year vision would be to have a community that is thriving in all aspects, but we need a big tax base to build our town to what it could be. And we all know that we couldn't even pass the school levy again.
Same here.
And the kids are the future, and they will need a good foundation to grow and help them be better people with a future that will support them and their families. So that was Corey. And I'm not gonna read the questions again, I'll just tell you what they said.
Who was your second person?
I'm sorry, Michelle Blood, the Conneaut Health, head nurse at the Conneaut Health Department.
Retired, right?
I don't know if she retired, she just had her second baby. But,
Yeah.
she serves the community as a leader, for the Conneaut City Health Department. She's on multiple committees to help better the community. Some of these committees are the Substance Use Leadership Team, SALT is the acronym, Ashtabula County Public Health Advisory Team, Access to Care Work Group, and many more. And sitting on these committees has given Conneaut Health Department the knowledge of what our community needs. She said the biggest thing that she's starting to see in our town is the housing issue. Either individuals are homeless or seeing more couch surfing or just not having reliable housing to start with. She said, how can you better serve the community, and how do you serve the community? The nursing program offers immunizations and vaccinations. The environmental program covers different areas such as rabies, ticks, mosquitoes, surveillance, food systems, private water systems, grocery stores, gas stations, etc. So she has a whole basket of things that she's involved with that you might not think about. And also public nuisance complaints she has to deal with that people don't realize that she does. As far as being aware of the church and what we offer, she said, unfortunately, I am not too aware of the ministries the church does. I would like to have a better understanding of what the church offers so that we can share it with the community. And she said, when I asked her about if she had heard about Good Shepherd impacting the people that she serves, she said, I've heard about the dinners that the church provides along with the food pantry. So that's a common. And the 5 to 10 year plan, the Conneaut Health Department has a community health assessment and community health improvement plan that is updated every 3 years. Along with this, we also have a strategic plan And she attached a copy of the community health assessment and community health improvement plan, and it's this many pages. So, I won't go into that
That's a
tonight,
5-year plan.
but she sits on all the communities for, community health improvement.
Okay. Anybody else have any? Michelle?
Okay, so of the three, I only got called back from one, and that was Catholic Charities, and that was because I know them there. I spoke with Alice Harden, which is a supervisor there. She supervises case management with several different programs. Kind of knew who we were, kind of didn't, so I explained to her what we were, and she thinks it's fabulous. What she would like to see from us in our community, Catholic Charities has a lot of programs that could help a lot of the people, or the homelessness and stuff like that, but there's nobody out here. They're in Ashtabula, we can't get people there. So she would like, maybe possibly, we could be a hub, meaning we could start the paperwork. We can start helping them fill out their paperwork. We need to, I'll call Alice, we need to get them into rapid housing. We need to get them a case manager, we need to get them into drug rehab. We need to get them into a homeless shelter or an abuse shelter. That's what she would like to see out here from us.
They don't have anything at the local Catholic church in Conneaut that refers them to Catholic Charities, huh? That surprises me.
Well, Catholic Charities is a nationwide. It's nationwide. It's just not the church.
Oh, it's not just the church.
It's nationwide. It's Catholic Charities. This Catholic Charities, Ashtabula County, is actually out of the Youngstown Diocese.
Oh, okay.
Isn't she also on the board of
Second Chance Citizens. She's on a lot of different boards.
I was gonna say, cause Alice Hardy said, she's on the board with Steve Sargent.
She is.
Stuff.
And she'll pick up the phone and say, I have somebody that needs to be housed tonight. What can we do? And you'll say, we can do this. Or we've got a woman, if we had the access here, and we could have somebody come in and say, I need help, I'm being hurt at home, I need housing, my electricity. It's one thing to have the electricity turned off and turned on, but it's another thing to try to get to the point where that doesn't happen, and they could help them, that they can come up with a game plan. We have been seeing homeless people. I've had some conversations, I explained that to her. Again, most of this all has to be willingness on.
Right, they have to follow through.
They have to follow through, so that's the big issue. But if we can, she sees we're building trust with the people within the community. If we could become that focal point, that touchstone, not right away, but it's something that we could build towards as being that trust zone, to provide additional knowledge and services to help get things going, to get people.
So the kind of thing that we would be doing would be knowing where to get the help.
And so we would be,
Call her, call whoever.
and even have the paperwork, we need to start getting
So
some
the
paperwork.
paperwork's ready and somebody can come and pick up the person even.
Or, somebody needs help getting disability, filing for disability, but they can't get to the paperwork. So sit down with them and say, this is what I need from you, this is what we need to do, we'll get it to Catholic Charities to you, or we'll get it to the right agency to
So
you.
we need a social worker.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a hub,
Yeah.
cause I direct people, they come in and they say, I need help, I said, well, you can go here, you can go here, but that's as far as it goes, because
Yeah.
some of them don't know how to get
Trying to get.
from where we're at to where they need to be. So maybe being those people. That's what they would like.
Thank you.
But signature health and community action, they're just probably very overwhelmed. But they do bring their clients here.
Who did you contact?
Huh?
Who did you contact?
I called the switchboard, I called and asked to speak with the directors at both areas. No. So,
Anybody else?
I called back up to where Patrick Arcaro is. I got no response. Yeah, I had to leave another message. So evidently he's not interested. I'm not gonna keep badgering.
Anybody else?
So I did call Kathy Zapatello, we just have not had a time that the two of us were available that we could sit down.
Yeah.
Our schedules are both crazy.
Yeah.
Out of town.
Yes, that's the blonde
Yeah,
one.
she helped with our mock interviews in high school.
Yes.
All right,
Enlightening, very enlightening.
to be on the, it was quite a nice experience, it really was. It was very interesting to be able to get other people's opinions. Not just these community leaders, but the listening sessions, I guess. Very good. Okay,
Well, let's skip that one and come right back to it and just go to the next point on the new business.
where do we go from here?
Yeah, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I saw that, we'll come back to the first point, but where do we go from here with the listening sessions and reviews? What's next? Now that we've got this feedback and we've got this information, what do we do with it?
I think we give it back to the congregation, we pull it together. It wasn't a survey,
No.
but on the other hand, different groups might have said different things than the other groups. I hear some hesitance, but I'm gonna keep talking anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna need some help defining, I mean, there's not really defined what they see as a mission of the church, nobody can really define.
Nobody has the mission, nobody has.
So, yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet.
Okay.
I'm going back to Reverend Drew Tucker's executive summary from our retreat. His first bullet point was his listening sessions, and then the next one in the recommended steps is it is our responsibility alongside a consultant, it could be him or it could be somebody else from Hopewood Outdoors or it could be somebody else entirely, to distill all this feedback into concise mission, vision, and values.
I think that's a great idea.
And then we boil that down so that we have a final version, and then we and then recommend that to the congregation. That's where we go. So it's still on us, still with us. I'd perhaps recommend going with a consultant. Could be Drew, could be somebody else from Hopewood Outdoors, could be somebody else entirely. But bring them in at this point now and say, hey, we got all this data. We need your help to focus it.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think Stacy was talking about taking this all to the congregation.
Not like this, that's not what I meant.
Okay,
That's not what I meant.
because I think we're confused.
But I do think we
With
need
what
to
we
give them
have.
some feedback that we heard a lot of commonalities and
Yes,
some
yes.
themes,
Absolutely.
and at least give them something, because otherwise they're gonna think it goes into a vacuum.
Like,
Yeah.
like they did last time.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and we have to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, what's the major underlying thing that everybody has been saying is homelessness. That's a big one that not only our congregants are seeing, but also the people in the community are seeing. And then, we can give them a few points about, these are the major topics that we've been seeing, and then tell them what the process is going forward.
So, do we think that we're ready to touch on this? Could this, and I'm talking 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the congregational meeting in December to just, here's what we've found so far.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah,
Timing is appropriate.
Yeah.
you think we,
So that they know that we're still working on it.
yeah, so they know that it's
Right.
not just some vacuum that has disappeared in.
Yeah, I think that we need to,
We can touch on some points from the community leaders as well as some points from the listening
Yeah.
sessions.
I think that's important,
I wouldn't spend more than 5 or 10 minutes on it.
So it's just An update.
Right.
And then what our next step was going to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk and write at the same time, okay?
It's okay.
It'll be alright. Okay. Okay. Then you wanna get with Drew, another consultant?
I think so.
I like Drew. He's
I
easy
did
to work
too.
with. He knows our situation already,
Uh-huh.
so
Right.
it's not like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is he willing to do it?
I think that would be good, yeah.
Like he's already worked with us, we've worked with him, it'll make it more comfortable, I feel like, enjoy going around people.
That's probably true.
I can double check with him, make sure that he is willing. He is now officially installed as executive director, so we're gonna have to work around his schedule as well. But,
I'm just gonna say this probably not gonna happen prior to the holidays.
yeah, I can imagine it too.
Do you have an idea what his fee would be?
No. Probably around the same amount as it was for the retreat, maybe a little bit more,
What was that?
300.
Well, that's cheap enough.
That's good. I mean, that's pretty cheap for a consultant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Sifting
can-
through all our stuff.
yeah.
Well,
I remembered what my question.
how are we gonna pull together the talking points for the congregational meeting? We've got a whole lot of sheets of paper, but
We do.
we gotta pick those things off of it and, put it together.
Yeah, I feel like maybe just finding, cause I know there's definitely at least 2 or 3 commonalities between all the listening sessions, homelessness being one. A lot of people talked about music, so I think we could pick out like maybe like a couple, like the couple commonalities that are there and then bringing those points to the congregational meeting because we know there's a commonality, so there's no real like discussion about that, like they're all there.
Right.
Yeah, so homelessness, families is that's a topic.
They miss what we used to do.
Yeah.
I think I heard that out of all the listening sessions from everybody's reports.
We did.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
even ours, wasn't it?
Oh, it was absolutely huge.
But they missed some of the things we used to do, right?
Especially because in our listening session, we had lifelong members, so, I mean, we used to do a lot.
Confirmation.
Oh, we needed that.
Oh, no!
Homoousios, Orthodox, Catholic.
My study guide.
Okay. Topic. I was in the middle of a movie thing, so I wasn't really listening.
Homelessness.
Okay.
Appreciation of our food pantries and
Yep.
outreach. That was almost in every.
Yeah, I think everybody talked about that.
Yeah, everybody has some awareness of it at different levels, but they seem like everybody had some awareness of it.
Right. Past ministries that we used to do as well was talked about in most of the sessions.
The ones that we don't do anymore that they
Yeah,
miss,
so-
that they feel like we should be back involved in.
Right.
Music.
Well, the Christmas boxes that we
Christmas
did,
boxes,
we
yeah.
voted not to do that because they became so expensive.
Were those?
Those
Operation
Operation
Christmas.
Christmas
The shoe box.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, but,
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we can't do something similar for the internal community. We
Well,
don't
that's
have
true.
to partner with a
I know.
national or
Yeah,
federal
true.
program. you know.
So,
Communication, I think, that's what we had, that was throughout our whole thing, I would say.
What else
what
specifically?
does that mean, yeah?
Communication, I guess transparency, with,
Lack thereof,
lack of,
or not knowing where it is?
not knowing what it is. I think that people, cause that was brought up several times, I don't think people understand where you can come in our church to get the information,
Where it's at.
besides
I
the
agree.
echo,
Yeah.
I
besides
agree.
the echo.
Right, they don't know who to talk to, they don't know where to go.
They don't know, you know, you can go up to the website and see I mean, besides, not just the church services, but our meetings and, you know, stuff like that, yeah.
I think that's all 100% accurate. Every place I've ever been, every church, every organization, every library, it's all the same. Nobody knows where to go look for it. I don't know if we're gonna solve that no matter how much.
It's there.
You got to do it.
It's there.
We can at least give it to them at the,
Yeah.
Families is a big,
Cut up to
what's
the
that
left.
last thing?
It is.
You know, you can fall over backwards and hit your head when you do that.
Where to get,
Where to get info, advertisements,
and that's what I was,
That's the
that was my
British way to
question about the hall, was are we advertising? Remember I said I had a question? How we're advertising it? Is
Not
it-
really. I mean, internally, it's always on the slides, but not externally.
Nope,
Is
Is
it
that
even on
something
the
you,
sign?
is there a reason that we're not doing it?
some is.
Not really.
I guess we could start
I mean,
spending some money and put advertisements out there.
Could easily put it out on the
We
electric
could-
sign.
You
Put it
just
on their
put it on our own
sign.
lock outside.
Yeah,
Well, there's two old, dirty, grungy
Sandwich boards over there.
mice things on it out there in the shed that, advertise the hall for rent. Been around forever, I guess.
That's funny.
we don't wanna, how many do we wanna
Let's
list?
say you don't want too many.
Five,
Yeah.
I think
I'm
5 would be the most.
Okay. I got 4 topics. Let's fit.
Yes,
Youth activity.
Youth,
That's kind of where I was leaning.
youth, families, youth,
Activities, what,
yeah.
it seemed to be a big deal.
Or youth involvement.
Needs-
I would,
yeah,
I would
I
make
like
it
it.
involved.
Yeah.
I like
Youth
youth
and family.
involvement, yeah, I like
Youth
the,
and family.
I like the word involvement, cause I'm trying to plan activities, but it's hard to do with one youth.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you,
One youth, I have a youth, not a youth.
Well, I'm wondering if that's another outreach to the community, is to bring youths that are not attending church into,
That's what we
That's
were-
why we did the candy crawl, to try and gain
Oh.
some interest in the church. So
Yeah.
we're trying to expand upon it.
yeah.
it's interesting, at least in our listening group, most of those people in there didn't have children of their at home, but that was a big deal for them.
Mhm.
It is. We talked a bit about it too.
Yeah, so did we, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
I think that's great for starting to boil down
Yeah.
what has been talked about. Okay.
Okay, so as long as we're on that topic, the first one was to set the December congregational meeting agenda. So we have the budget as the main topic of it.
That's correct.
The other thing is, council vacancy, votes,
Nominations,
nominations and votes, because the nominations are supposed to be in
December, whatever it
Should be
was.
the Sunday before the
the Sunday
congregational meeting.
before the congregational meeting.
Gotta make sure to-
How many,
We gotta make sure we get that message,
I know.
updated
I gotta.
announcements.
how many slots are we looking to fill?
Technically 2.
Yes.
Taylor's filling one. I don't
I
know,
would
are
have
you
to-
nominated to, are you willing to serve in your council position?
So you have to put her on the ballot.
Cause even if
Yes.
I'm living, 40 minutes away, one day a month isn't that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be here once every Sunday anyway, then I'm not driving 40 minutes.
I know people that drive an hour to go to a church they love, so.
Right, well, I mean, I was doing that when I was in Cleveland.
Okay.
Right, so that, and then listening session feedback.
suggestion or want for the, change of the church constitution?
Reverting it back to the,
You
What
do?
you do?
Okay.
After Mitch Phillips today. And, so the process to bring it up into, we have done the process perfectly. So we are now currently under this new constitution because the Senate has accepted it. And so, if we had to just bring things up in line with the model constitution, that can be done with one vote, which we did in February. And amendments, though, to the constitution have to go through a two-vote process. It has to first be approved by majority at a legally called meeting of the congregation, and then ratified without change at the next regular meeting of the congregation by 2/3 vote of the voting members present. So in other words, the amendment can only be, could be proposed by at least 10% voting members or by the council. Proposals must be filed in writing with the congregational council 60 days before formal consideration by this congregation at a regular or special congregation meeting called for that purpose. This is chapter 16, 01. Hey, you all have constitutions.
We
My sinuses. My sinuses are gone. 1601.
Is that my fault?
It should be at the beginning of the book, under the Constitution,
or by us,
but it has to be proposed in writing.
to this council,
This council,
60 days before formal consideration.
Okay.
So that's why.
But then it can have
And then it can be at a regular or special congregational meeting called for that purpose.
okay.
And then the council shall ratify the congregation members of the proposed together with the council's recommendations at least 30 days in advance of the meeting. Notification may take place by mail or electronic means as permitted by law. So, 60 days before it can even come to here,
Somebody has to put it in writing.
in writing,
Come to here to council, you mean?
yes.
So how do we,
It needs to be an addendum.
It's an amendment.
It's an amendment to the Constitution,
Mhm.
so somebody needs to propose that to council
In writing.
in writing.
So remember at Synod Assembly,
Yeah,
and it had to the first question was, did you submit it to the people? And
yeah.
there was a timeline that you had to do that before the Synod Assembly and amendments to any amendments to done.
Right.
And so they have to submit that first, and that has to be submitted 60 days before
The meeting,
consideration.
Okay.
for consideration, that's not even.
Consideration
Yeah,
at a meeting?
at
Yeah.
a council meeting,
at a council meeting.
So it's a 3-month timeline
at least.
from when the proposal
And-
is submitted at least.
And according to 1602, according to Mitch, it cannot be ratified, and it has to be ratified at a next regular meeting. It cannot be ratified at a special meeting.
So it
So
has
which
to be the
is-
next monthly, scheduled meeting, which
Right.
can be
Dang.
large gaps sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking at,
But then,
somebody has.
So here's the example that he gave me. An amendment to the Constitution, presented to council presented in March, wouldn't be ratified until the next February, about a year.
Okay.
So yeah, it can be it's a long process.
that ratified needs to be ratified by the.
So it would
the
first be
Senate
voted
Council.
at one of the regular meetings or a special meeting, and then at the next regular. So it could, I guess,
So you could,
It could be October.
it could be October as I read this.
Yeah,
But
it could be.
the example he gave me was February, and it has to then go to the Senate for their
For their
approval
final
before
approval.
it's.
before
So
it
even
can
if
be
it's-
acted on, that's,
Even if it's approved here, it still has to go to
Yeah,
Senate.
so
and
if
they
they
can
don't
say
approve
no.
it, yeah.
This just reminds me about it, like amending a House bill, you have to petition and get a certain percentage of petitioners to go ahead and put forth the request.
He had told me, he knew that it had to go before the Senate Council before it can be acted on. But he didn't know the steps before that.
Yeah.
So these are the steps.
So chapter 16, these are the steps. They are all starred and they cannot be changed. Anything with a star cannot be changed.
Okay. So, it's not gonna be an agenda item for December,
No, but I would
but,
tell them.
yeah,
The
that's,
process.
we need, well, I'd like to get it out to him before that meeting. You know,
Okay.
something in writing,
Yeah.
Robocall.
yeah, robocall or,
That way,
Well,
avoid
It's not a
a
robocall.
letter to each of their homes,
When
whatever.
we send out the agenda and the
We'll include
notification,
that.
we can put that.
That's
in.
because
Good idea.
if they don't find out till the meeting, it can cause a lot of
That is his
discord
idea.
and a lot of commotion.
It could, but, you know, hopefully,
Just chapter
Hopefully it
16.
doesn't,
Yeah, I was reading it.
because it's a long process.
You think just sending a copy of chapter 16 is good?
Probably not for everybody, there's a lot of words there to say a few things.
Maybe it's easier to put.
Well, it's gonna be one for everybody.
Yeah,
So
Then they,
16.
then they
well, we can
They can
send,
always ask council.
yeah,
Right.
but we can also send them chapter 16, there's just a cover to it that kind of lays
it's,
it out.
it's 5 bullet points.
Yeah,
Step 1,
yeah.
Right.
Step
Okay.
two.
Do like a step by step and then send like a copy of
The
the
16,
16, so that they can see it formally written and so that they know we're not,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't have to.
Okay. Thank you. Next, a motion to skip December's regularly scheduled meeting. I will entertain one, if anybody. Michelle, is there a second?
everybody,
I totally got overlooked on that.
everybody.
happens to me all the time.
Pick a name, any name, I think everybody seconded that.
All right, any discussion on it?
I wanna ask that if something urgent comes up, that we're able to pull a committee together.
Yeah.
It says regular, of course.
Okay.
But I thought about that when I had Jen write that in, I was like, you know, what in case we need an emergency meeting
So why do you wanna cancel the meeting for next month?
for the holidays?
It's a holiday
Advent.
time, correct?
Very busy season.
We've always kind of.
We always don't.
Well,
We always done it
no,
is not a reason.
so what we
Sorry.
used to do,
Just have a Christmas party.
bingo, we would have a very
Right.
brief council
Right.
meeting at somebody's
That's true.
home and
That's
have a gathering
true.
of fellowship with the council members and their and their spouses.
Yes,
That's what we used to do,
yes,
right?
correct.
It's a very busy time for all of us.
I don't
Can I
think
make a
the master
motion that we have
squeeze us
each
into
on our
this.
meeting next year?
Sound
Hey.
very happy.
Believe me, I have contacted Bernie, they're supposed to be coming out, I haven't got the schedule yet, because this whole system, this whole wing, the electricity, the
It's a
heat,
mess.
it's a mess. So we got lights flickering next door, going off,
Well,
coming on,
Well, I can deal with that, it's the
Oh,
disco
snow
in the
plowing.
office,
snow plowing.
That's what it's talking about.
Let me,
Oh.
And the,
yeah,
and the random lights off and on.
let me, tell you guys, what we're doing about snow plowing. Going in the house. Okay, so, hey, could I have
Bastard just got scolded.
a?
Look at him.
So,
It's like a kid got slapped on the head with a.
all right.
Take
We're-
control, George.
Snow plowing, our snow plow guy got a full-time job.
Right.
He's working for the state now. So we don't have, he's not going to plow for us next year. And his, the number that we used for the budget was $3,050 or something like that.
Something like that, yes.
Whatever his proposal was.
Oh, I have a copy of this. Okay.
I reached out to Cantor, Lopez,
This is not spelled out, I don't have
Oh,
MC, and, Chambers. And I got numbers from $9,340.
No.
That's ridiculous.
So I signed up with him.
That's my tuition.
No, I did. So $9,340, there was Cantor was $8,000, $400 for push and salt. Lopez was $1,500, but he has no salt. We,
This is per push?
no,
For the
his,
season,
That's a
his 10
seasonal one.
that's a seasonal.
his was a seasonal $1,500 with 10 pushes, is what he figured. But no salt. So I did do some work on looking at buying a used tractor and a seed spreader and looked at, doing the salt ourselves. But, hell, I can't get people to, I'm not gonna do it every time.
I know, you live too close to the church.
So, the best proposal we got outside of those was from, Wachowski's Excavating.
Get
I know. That's,
How much?
it's $180 a push. So at 10 pushes, it would be $1,800 if you wanted to compare it to the lowest non.
Well, if
And-
you give him a case of beer when he gets here, he'll maybe do it for nothing.
Well, actually, with his, if we were just to equalize what we were doing last year, that would be 17 pushes, and we're not gonna get 17 pushes this year.
We better not get 17.
that's-
If we do.
Oh, George, you're gonna be pushing snow.
I've got loads in California, we
Yeah.
get 17.
Oh, come on.
So,
But does that include salt?
that includes salt.
Okay.
Plow and salt both lots, completely, and, if we want him to just come and plow, it would be $90.
That's not bad.
It's, you know,
So
don't
like,
need-
so like they're
So
only,
maybe
It's
we'll
about the
come
same
in under
cost
budget.
as it is right now.
they're not gonna
Right.
plow
They're not doing it, they didn't,
only on Sundays.
they're not doing a contract, no, they'll do it every time it snows, 7 days a week. Just like we did everything else last year.
17 times, so what's the 17 times mean, a month?
I said if he did 17
In a
times in
season.
the season.
In a season.
Yeah, last year we didn't even do 10, we paid for 10.
But do we call them and say we want it plowed?
No, it comes if it's 2 inches.
Okay, that was my
That
question.
was my question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what was in the RFP when we put it out last year. And, it was 2 inches or more, and they come every time 2 inches. So if it gets 2 inches in the morning and 2 inches in the evening, and he plows in between, we're gonna get another plow.
Well, this is my concern, because this has happened, is we need to make sure, if we get those 2 inches, that we're plowed before the lunch is hit. Because we've got people stuck.
Good
Can't
luck.
control it.
Can't control it?
Good
Okay.
luck.
Yeah, that's what the
We-
plow company.
we can ask.
Yeah, I mean, we could ask, I mean, it's not really
We
busy.
can request, but
We got one poor little old lady stuck down there, and it took 4 adult men to literally pick up the car.
oh, that was the year before last.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That
I was
the
like, last year was a mile winner, the year
Yeah.
before. was-
Year before last,
Well, Bubba's
because I was out there with that.
Bubba's
car.
Yeah, you guys, you literally picked up the car
You
and
got
moved
JT
it.
now, you can have him
Yeah.
just pick
Yeah.
it up with a
Big
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 strong
strong
man.
That's all carried.
Alright, so I wanted to let you know about that. The other thing that, real quick, and this will need a council vote on. We did get Rick Benmar to look at Sandusky Street to finish it. And there is some repair work that needs to be done, which is $1,300. But there's still some finishing up to do with the sinks and some paint. The stairway needs to be painted as well as, some runner put on it. And the closets upstairs need some work and touch up, and miscellaneous painting and touch up. Comes to a total of $2,100. Yeah, $2,100 for the, finish out the remodel.
Okay.
That's completed.
That's completed. He said that he would be charging us $1,550 for labor, and it's not to exceed that number.
Okay.
The rest is in materials. Now, here lays the rub. The $1,300 is repair work. We can cover that out of, Sandusky Street.
The normal
Normal
rental
stuff,
like we
yeah.
used to.
The $2,100, we have, about, $750 left in the,
Approved budget.
approved,
$25,000.
from I don't know how you handle it.
George
Unless it has
said,
to go before council.
why didn't you contact me?
Because we contacted Rick. He's was doing the work over there too.
Well, no, we contracted him to do the windows and the flooring,
Right,
you know, and that was all.
yeah.
So why didn't you contact me?
I contacted Rick to do it.
No, the question is, why didn't you contact me?
Because you hadn't been in there since April.
That's because pastor said we weren't gonna do anything for a
No.
year.
Well, it's,
Mark.
it's a misunderstanding.
It is a misunderstanding because I understood that we were going to finish the job and then we weren't going to do anything with it until we decided what to do with it. And we had this discussion at a previous meeting just a few months ago when we talked about that. That's why I contacted Rick to do this, to get it finished.
What would be Rick's time?
Well, I see.
He could do it, and he would start, as soon as he got an approval, he would start right away.
Take about 2 weeks to finish it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you gonna say, Mark?
Well, I still think that, George, you should have contacted me, to talk about this, because I haven't been there because of the edict from pastors saying we're not gonna be doing anything there.
Mark, that was a total misunderstanding that I thought was straightened up at the last meeting. I remember sitting next to you, and you said that we weren't gonna do anything with it, and we all said, no, that wasn't what we said. We said we weren't gonna do anything with the house, but not finish it. It had to be finished no matter what we were gonna do with
Well,
it, right?
Right, but pastor said we weren't gonna do anything, we weren't gonna make any decisions whether we were retaining or renting.
Correct.
Agreed. So you
Agreed.
perceived that to mean we didn't need to finish the renovations at this time because we didn't know what we were going to do. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it was a misunderstanding.
No, I pledged to do, now, this porch work wasn't part of the original deal, but the interior work, I pledged to do that, and I will finish it.
When will you finish it? When can you have it done?
I can't give you an exact time, but, I can resume work on it now.
And how long will it take you?
I can't give you an exact time.
Okay. Is that the way you, work with contractors too? I mean, if somebody came to your house to do work, is that the way you handle it too? I'm not trying to be combative, I'm just trying to get to an idea. Don't tell me exactly a date. Is it 2 weeks, is it 5 weeks, is it 20 weeks?
I would think probably, trying to think of what I have going on in my life now and other things, I'd probably say 4 weeks.
Okay. So you could finish the remodel portion in 4 weeks?
I think so.
And
Now, as far as the dumpster, we talked about that, but when Rick gave me what he was gonna charge for that, that was gonna take us over our budget. So, instead of removing the tub surround, I was going to try to just, clean it up so it would be presentable.
yeah, well, it leaks, so that's why we want to
I
replace it.
don't know that it leaks.
It's leaked before, Mark, and nothing's been done to it to fix it, to make it not leak. We know that from the.
Well, I'm not positive about that, because I'm not aware of any leakage down into the kitchen directly below there.
Mark,
Well, George, Rich investigated this he looked at,
Yes,
correct?
it is.
Correct.
So he knows, he saw signs of leakage, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, but we don't know if that's current or not.
Let's not argue about this. We
I
have,
just want a
we had
clarification.
somebody that knows what he's looking at. He's the one that noticed it. He said that he had that conversation with you, you had that conversation with him, but it was after the floor, but no decision was made, is what he told me. But that's beside the point. I think it needs to be fixed so that it doesn't leak. Even if we are going to keep it or we're not going to keep it, long term, we'd be paying more for it later.
Well, it'd probably be easy enough to find out if it's leaking just by turning the shower on. But when the previous tenant was in there, she didn't complain about any leakage. And I didn't see any evidence of leaking.
She didn't complain about the cat crap on the floor either.
True.
When you don't know that, you don't care
Right.
sometimes.
Mark, this is looked at as repair work, so it's gonna come out of it's not gonna be part of the budget, the $25,000. That portion. Okay?
Now, as far as the porches, the back porch, I think the steps need to be replaced.
The steps certainly need to be replaced, the handrail needs to be replaced, there's some boards that need to be replaced. And in the front porch. Okay. So, what I'm hearing is that Mark is willing to finish the remodel work, and he is willing to do that approximately 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks.
So what would be the end date?
We're not gonna go there. It's 4 to 5 weeks from today. Or Monday, next month. Okay, fair?
Mhm.
All right. And then, so I will entertain a motion to, have Rick do the $1,300 of repair work for the, the tub surround, porch.
Well, the porch is not
The
part of
porch is
that,
not,
that's separate.
Surround. And the.
Tubs around.
He didn't give you a
Oh,
number,
he
because he
didn't-
doesn't know what he's gonna
yeah,
get
that's
into.
right. Yeah, he didn't have that. But, the tub surround and the, doorknobs, as well as the porch, which will probably exceed that 1,300, but
Well, I think
he owes us a number.
he owes us a number, but he can't do that till he tears into it, so I think all we can do right now is approve the 1,300 and bring back, once he tears it apart, and we have an estimate on the other part, approving that. Does that make sense?
Does,
I'm not just gonna blanket say, yeah, go
Yeah,
fix the porch
do
without
whatever you
having any
want.
idea.
Right.
but he's gonna have to tear into it to find out what else needs to be done to it. And that's both porches, by the way. All right? So I entertain a motion for that. Michelle?
Second.
Pastor? Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carries.
Okay.
All right.
We have to go back and, on the December,
Did it?
no, we didn't vote. We have a first and a second, but we didn't vote.
For the December.
On the
I'm
agenda?
I'm
Skipping the meeting.
Oh, skipping this.
Oh, we got too excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got way too excited.
We have a first and second on, not having a meeting in December, other than if it's an emergency, we can call a meeting together. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will entertain a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thanks for keeping us honest, Kay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. She would have said something later. All right, I will now entertain a motion to,
Can I get just mention something?
sure,
So, Rick Vidmar came in my office, and, not being the only one, but as said, how disgusted he was because of Sunday. He will not be here for a while. He will do this work, but he will not be here for a while. I'm sure he's not gonna be the only one. So, the reason I had these devotions, in scripture, was to remember that we are one in the body of Christ. When one suffers, we all suffer. When one is victorious, we are all victorious. So just remember, we all need to work together. Every single one of us here needs to work with every single one of us. We all try to be hands, we'll fall down. We all try to be eyes, we won't hear. Okay. So I just want you to know that there are gonna be people who are not gonna be here for a little while. Now we can dismiss.
can I have a motion for adjournment? Her. Second?
Second.
Taylor,
Taylor.
Yeah, we sound like.
We do.
forget your name?
No, she and I said.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We'll stay in the Lutheran's evening prayer.
In the name of the Father, and the
Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
I thank you, my Heavenly Father, through Jesus Christ, your dear Son, that you have graciously kept me this day. And I pray that you would forgive me all my sins, where I have done wrong, and graciously keep me this night. For into your hands I commend myself, my body and soul, and all things. Let your holy angel be with me, that the evil foe may have no power over me. Amen.
Oh, great.